Hey my siblings, first of all I'd like to thank you guys for subscribing to my channel and for commenting. Your comments really inspire me. I can't wait for us to grow and remind one another of the times when all we had was just each other, all we had was just us. Thank you so much. I'm really grateful, guys. So let's get straight to the video. So I graduated in April 2017, but I started looking for a job in Jan 2017 before graduation. Then April I went back to Cape Town for grad, came back, started looking, continued looking for a job, but I only got something in September 2017. It was an internship with the Department of Social Development in their legal section. That was September 2017. October 2017, my grandmother died. What had happened is the Friday I stayed with her. It was just the two of us. So the Friday I went to Welcome to visit my aunt. Saturday my cousin calls me telling me that my grand had died. I thought he was only joking, because when I left my grand was okay, and as far as I knew my grand wasn't sick at all. So I thought maybe he wants me to come back home. And then I didn't believe him, but he wasn't joking. She really died. And that morning she was apparently vomiting, so they took her to the doctor, but the doctor didn't see anything wrong with her. But the minute she walked out of the consultation room, she fell, and that was it. So I had to come back home early, and we buried my gran, and life continued. But after losing my gran, I was so hurt. I felt like death just keeps taking and taking and taking, and it doesn't care how we feel. Because 2 years after my mom died, I lost my grandfather, and I won't dwell that much with my grandfather because I don't like talking about him. It hurts me. His death, it still hurts, so I don't like talking about him. But he passed away 2 years after my mom, and then 2017 it was my grand. So I just felt like I keep losing people through death, and it hurts because, guys, I think this is the case with most of us, with most of us black people. When we go to university, when we chase after our dreams, whatever it is that we do to be successful, we always have our parents or our grandparents at the back of our minds. We always want to make someone at home proud. So when those people are taken away from us, it's almost as if there's no point, or that was the case with me. So I felt like what's the point of chasing after my dreams if I'm going to keep losing the same people that I want to make proud? If I keep losing the same people that I'm doing this for. Yes, I'm doing it for myself, but I also want them to be here because they were there throughout the struggle, especially my grandmother, because my mom died when I was still in primary. My grandfather died just when I was going to high school. So it was my grand who was there through thick and thin. She was there. She was there when I was hungry. She was there when I didn't have a place to stay at campus. Like, she was there through it all. And just shortly after I graduated, she just died, you know. So I felt like life was unfair. I felt like there was no point for me to leave, because these people that I'm doing this for, they are leaving me behind. So that's when I started having that's when the depression came back again. I started being so sad, and I was constantly crying. And because my grand and I just stayed together at her place. When she died, I stayed alone, and there were times when there would be a shadow walking in the house. You know, when you're in a crowded place and you get this urge that someone is looking at you. That was the case with me, and I was at home alone, and I would have this thing that someone is looking. And whenever I looked, that shadow would walk to the other direction. Sometimes I'll be in the kitchen, maybe cooking, and then I would have that someone is looking at me, and then when I look, that thing would walk. So it happened a lot. Like, it would just walk around the house. Wherever I was, I felt like this thing was there. And then I told my aunt, and she thought it was just a mind, because it was like 3 to 4 months after my grand had died. So she thought maybe it's my mind. I also thought it's probably my mind, because I'm still not over my grand. So this one time my cousin is visiting, and she's doing my hair, And then she looks outside the door immediately. And I asked her what was wrong. And she said, there's a shadow walking around the house. Guys, I got so scared to think I've been alone in the house all along. And I thought it was just my mind. And that thing was there all the time. When she saw it, I got so scared. But there was nothing I could do because I was just doing an internship. So I couldn't afford to pay rent. So I couldn't move out. And she left, and then when she left, that thing came back again at night. So I started having trouble sleeping. I had to go to the doctor to get pills. I got injections. I was in and out of consultation rooms because I couldn't sleep. I wasn't okay at all. And then I started trying wine. And before that, I had never tasted alcohol before 2018. So I started drinking wine just not to overdo it. I didn't overdo it because I would just have a glass. And after that glass, I would be down and out. It was just to numb the pain and to forget about that shadow. And whenever I had wine, I didn't care about the shadow. So the wine was helping a lot. I would just have a glass and then I would sleep. Until I realized, no man, I am not okay. And this wine wasn't helping because I would have a glass today and I'll feel okay, but the next morning that thing is back again. I didn't even like wine anyway. So I decided, okay, I'm just gonna stop taking the wine, but I need to do something because I'm hurting. And at the time I felt like, because I had been to therapy when I was still at UWC, I felt like therapy also wouldn't help. So what I did was, I had a lot of pills in the house. So what I did was, I just took another packet of pills shortly before sleeping, and I drank, I think it was 9 or 10 of them. I drank them. Then I slept. In the middle of the night, I needed to pee, but I couldn't walk. I couldn't walk. I just couldn't, and I had to press the pee and sleep. I forced myself to sleep, and because I was really weak, so I thought if I slept, I wouldn't wake up in the morning because I had taken pills anyway. So I thought I would be dead the next morning, but it didn't happen like that. I woke up the next morning. I still couldn't walk. I managed to reach to my phone, and I called my aunt, and she came immediately, and they took me to the consultation room, to the doctor's consultation room. And luckily they left me with the doctor. They didn't want to be in, so luckily, because they didn't know what was going on. And the doctor checked me, did some scans, and I think he gave me activated charcoal to take out the pills, and then he injected me. And yeah, shortly after that I could walk and I was okay. But the sadness continued. I continued to feel depressed. So I decided, okay, now it's time for me to go for counseling. And I went for counseling and I was better. And then after that, another thing that also made me sad wasn't only my grand's death. Thing is, for me, I always wanted to practice law. So like being in an office has never been a goal for me. I always wanted to practice. So that thing also made me sad, that I'm here doing an internship, yet my heart is out there. I want to practice law. So that thing also contributed to the depression, and then plus my grand's death, it was just too much. So that's why I decided, you know what, I'm just going to take these pills. So this one time, I'm telling one of the advocates at work that I really want to practice. I don't want to be here. Yes, this is an opportunity. I'm learning something, but I like, my heart keeps feeling like there's more that I want. I'm honestly not satisfied here. And then he was like, but because you're still here and you're not getting articles and you have applied. Guys, I applied for articles. Like, I applied and there was no response. You know, at least when you get an email saying we are sorry to inform you, but for me, I didn't even get that email. There were no responses at all. So that's why I opted for the internship. So this advocate was like, no, what you can do is, why don't you just do pupillage with the National Bar, because you're still here, and because you can't afford to do pupillage and not get paid. What you can do is you can do it via the National Bar Council of South Africa, and while you're doing your pupillage, you can still be doing your internship. So you can do both, because with national bar, you don't have to be there every day. And I applied, and my application was successful. And but the thing with the national bar is that the pupillage, you do it, but you don't appear in court. So you just go to court for observations. They give you assignments. It's 50 assignments. You get assignments, and then you keep submitting the assignments. Some of the assignments you will have to go to court, but you don't appear. You just go there for observations. So yeah, so I did that one. And then I was still doing the internship while doing it. And then when I was done, I moved my application to be admitted as an advocate, which was successful. It was before the new legal dispensation, because now the rules are quite strict to be admitted as an advocate. But at the time, you just needed your LLB degree. That's it. So I got admitted with that. But I got admitted before I was even done with my pupillage. Shortly after that, I completed my internship, but I was still not done with the pupillage, because pupillage is 12 months. I continued to do my pupillage. I continued to do my assignments. I continued to do my pupillage. I continued to do my assignments. So while I was doing pupillage, because I was now done with the internship, I was at home. So while at home, I would go to court with my robe and act like I just got out of court, and communicate with the attorneys, and they would take my number, say, we'll call you when we have briefs. But I never got calls. So I did that constantly until I ran out of money for transport. So I stopped. Then I continued with my assignments. And yeah, and after that, I completed my pupillage. And after completing, I was sitting at home. While at home, I tried to reach out to attorneys, and one of them was like, but I feel like you took shortcuts, you were supposed to have done your articles. And I was like, but as for you, as if it was someone who didn't study law saying that, it would make sense, because they would think maybe I'm lazy, I was just sitting at home. But for you as an attorney, you will understand that like you don't apply for articles and get a response next week that you're starting. You apply and apply and apply. Right now, there's a lot of people, even on Twitter, there's a lot of people saying, I graduated last year with an LLB, I've been applying for articles, but I'm not getting articles. A lot of people say that. Someone even tweeted that when you have a law degree, you don't necessarily have to be an advocate or an attorney. There's a lot of things that you can do with your LLB. You can be a mediator or whatever it is. And lawyers are very versatile. Like, you put a lawyer here, they adjust and they excel. You put a lawyer there, they just do their thing, you know. So someone was saying that people need to understand that being an attorney or an advocate are not the only things that you can do with your LLB. But the thing is, with me, although the person was right, but the thing with me and with other people that I believe are applying for articles, it's because they probably want to practice. Because with me, I applied for articles because I wanted to practice. So for someone to come to me and say, I feel like you took shortcuts, after I had like, guys, once you get your degree, not just LLB, once you get your degree, once you go to varsity, once you go to college, and you study and you graduate, I don't think there's a place in your heart to take shortcuts, because you will agree with me when I say that getting a qualification is hard, guys. Those sleepless nights, you study and study. Sometimes you don't even eat because you're studying over and over just to get this degree. So once you get a degree or a diploma or any other qualification, I don't think there's room for you to be taking shortcuts, because you know what it's like to work hard. So this person says, I feel like you took shortcuts. And I explained to this person that no, I did apply for articles, and with pupillage, I couldn't afford to do pupillage with the general bar because it's unpaid, and I wasn't gonna have money for transport, I wasn't gonna have money for food. I stay alone now, because before I got the internship with the Department of Social Development, I depended on my grandmother, and my grandmother, as I said, died a month after I got the internship. So for me, doing the pupillage with the national bar, for me that was important to me, because I had to do that while I was doing the internship. And then I met this one advocate at the national bar. He promised he's in Joburg, I think. So he promised that, no, what we can do is please just move to Joburg, and then what we will do is I will lend you money for a place to stay, and then it will sustain you for the first maybe 2 to 3 months. Then after that you can pay me back. And I felt like it was a fair agreement, and I agreed to it, and I was like, no, I don't have a problem with that, because as far as I knew, the guy was very nice. He had been nice since day one. Like throughout the 12 months of my pupillage, he was really, really, really nice, and I trusted him. So later on, this was before I completed my pupillage, we had meetings. So we meet at one of the meetings. We had already agreed about what's going to happen when I move to Joburg. So we meet and we confirm that, no, this is how it's going to happen. And I'm like, okay, cool, and I'll pay you back. And he's like, no, don't worry about it. You should take your time. Only after you get briefs you should worry about paying me back. And I was like, yo, this guy is really nice. Then I come back to Free State. This guy texts me. He's like, yo, you have a really nice body, and for a short person you really have a big bum. I'm sorry guys that I have to be explicit. I hope there are no kids watching this, but he's like, for a short person you have a really big bum, and I'd like to taste it, and if you allow me to taste it when you move to Joburg, you won't have to pay me anymore. You guys, I was so hurt. I blocked him, but I was really hurt. I'm like, yo, this guy mara unkilo, and apparently this happens a lot, because I also saw a tweet from someone saying that they are scared to expose certain people because they don't want to lose their articles. People want sex from them. And I also know people in my life who have told me that, yo, you know, this guy promised to give me briefs only if I sleep with him. So it looks like it's something that happens a lot, and it hurts, because I believe that as Black people, we are forced to constantly prove ourselves in when we get to certain spaces. So imagine being a woman and you have to prove yourself, and then you're also Black, you also have to prove yourself. Someone tweeted that being a Black woman is like being Black twice, and I agree with that, because we constantly have to prove that I deserve to be here, you know. And now on the other hand, we also have to protect ourselves from these men, because for them to help us, we have to sacrifice our bodies. Yet the same degree that they have, we have the same experience in certain instances, the same experience that they have. You'll realize that you also have that. All you need is just an opportunity. But in order for you to get that opportunity, you have to make your body a living sacrifice to get what you want. So it hurts. I just really hope that one day the system will be in our favor as women and as Black people, because it really, like, it hurts a lot. So yeah guys, that's what happened. I blocked the guy, and he wasn't the only one. I remember tweeting that I have a degree and I'm unemployed, and this guy sent me a DM saying that he's willing to help. I can give him my number, and then he can give me the money to move to Joburg, and I don't have to tell people in public that he helped, something like that. I don't have to tell people in public that he helped because he has a wife. And then I was like, no, if you have a wife, please speak to your wife first and hear what she says. And then he tells me that, no, my wife doesn't have to know, because there are ways in which you can pay me. Then I also blocked him. So it's like that. It looks like for women to make it in this life, we constantly have to be told that we have to sacrifice our bodies in order to be helped. Other than that, we can't get the help. So it hurts. It really does. But yeah, I blocked the guy, and I continued reaching out to ask for help. And last year, in my birthday is in August, on the 20th of August. So weeks before that, I'm thinking to myself, a year ago I hoped that my birthday this year would be different. I wanted to have just a nice sitting with my friends, not a big party, because I'm not big with these things, but I wanted to have just a nice sitting with a few of my friends, having a bra, and I really wanted that, and I thought that I would do it last year. When I realized that it wasn't gonna happen because I still didn't have the money, I became suicidal again. I was hurt, and I thought to myself, I've worked so hard to get to this stage and nothing is happening, you know. So I felt like there's no point. Like year in year out, I keep on thinking maybe this is my year, but nothing is happening. And then the next year I think, let me become optimistic for this year, but still nothing is happening. So I became really suicidal. And I remember this one time, I even tweeted about it. I woke up this one morning and I went to this lady who sells rat poison, because I had heard stories. Most people where I come from who committed suicide used rat poison, and it doesn't waste time. So I thought to myself, I realized that the pills don't work. And at varsity I tried to jump out of the window, and that also didn't work. So I thought to myself, maybe this red poison this time will be a successful attempt. So I go to this lady and I try to buy red poison, and she's like, no, we don't sell red poison to people your age, because most of them use it to commit suicide. So I'm not going to sell it to you unless you come with an adult. Then I can sell it to you, because they can confirm whether or not you do have rats at home. So I obviously couldn't bring an adult because there were no rats at home. I just wanted to use it to commit suicide, and she was spot on. So in as much as I was really upset at the time when she didn't want to sell it to me, I was very angry. But right now I'm very grateful, because if it wasn't for that woman, I wouldn't be sharing these stories with you today. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be alive today. At the time I felt like moto o wan lumeletsa, but now I feel like I sometimes feel like going to her to confirm that I really wanted to commit suicide. I sometimes feel like going to her to thank her for sparing my life, because if it wasn't for that lady, I would be dead today. So I'm really grateful that it didn't happen. So when she didn't give it to me, I went back home and I cried so much. And I started praying. I remember even telling this person, most of my friends know that I'd been an atheist for the longest time, but that time I prayed. I prayed, and I told this other friend of mine who is also an atheist, I'm like, you know what, I've been praying a lot lately, and I'm not even sure if I'm still an atheist, because I pray a lot, and somehow I believe that someone somewhere is listening, and I believe that this person or this being is going to give me the answer that I am looking for. Somehow the atheist in me is dying, and this new person is coming alive, and I had so much hope after that time. I prayed a lot, guys. I continued to pray even after I spoke to my friend. I continued to pray, and I prayed and I prayed and I prayed, and a few months later because I had been applying, social development called me, and now I work for them in the legal section. They called me last year, a few months after that, and yeah, like I was so grateful that I didn't die, and I continued to pray even after that, and I was really grateful that I didn't die. Like, you guys have no idea how much I appreciate being alive right now, because like I had so many suicidal attempts and they all failed, and the fact that they all failed, somehow I still believe that something greater is gonna come come out of my life. So guys, when you speak to me in my DMs and you tell me that you're going through this, and I respond, there are a lot of people who usually say, but you don't understand. Guys, I understand. I know what it's like to be burned and burned and burned and burned, and I also know what it's like to come out of the ashes. That's why I always say to people that I believe I'm a phoenix, because I've been burned so many times, but no matter how many times I got burned, no matter how many times I think I've reached rock bottom, and I believe this is as low as it gets, and it doesn't get any lower than this. But the most surprising thing is I always come out stronger than I was when I went in that situation, you know. And So I believe you, when you go through things and you send me a DM and you tell me I'm going through things, I'm going through this, I'm going through that, and I tell you my story. Each time when someone sends me a DM, I always tell them my story. I always tell them that I know what it's like to be where you are. I know what it's like to go to sleep without eating. I know what it's like to only live on water. I know what it's like to be having stomach cramps because you had nothing to eat that evening. Guys, I know what it's like to have no place to stay. I know what it's like to be sleeping on tiles on a cold night. So I know what it's like when you're going through something. When I tell you that I know, I'm not joking. When I tell you that I know, I don't take for granted your story. I don't take your situation for granted, because I know what it's like to be down and out. I know what it's like to continuously ask people for help and feel like you are unknowing them. I know. That is why I am doing this. I am doing this because I want you to understand that you can come out of it. Yes, there'll always be defeats, but you will always come out of them. And coming out of them is something that will let you see how strong you are. Coming out of them is something that will let you see just how much you can handle. Guys, like, I know that there are people who like saying God gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. Guys, I don't think anyone wants to be a soldier. It hurts to be a soldier. It's not a good place to be. So if you're going through something and you think it's not going to end, as cliche as this may sound, it will end, guys. It will. I promise you, it will. From the bottom of my heart, I hope you hold on. From the bottom of my heart, I hope you don't find yourself feeling like death is a better solution. Because like I've said in the previous video, you don't know what's going to happen when you're dead. You don't know. The only people who know what happens when you die are the dead people. So you don't know if there will be peace beyond the grave. And another thing that I'd like to tell you is that when you do commit suicide, who's going to make your dreams come true for you? Who's going to live the life that you wanted for yourself? You know, I like what Paulo Coelho says in one of his books. He says that whether you know it or not, every person has a role that they play in history. So guys, please hold on, because you don't know who's going to be inspired by your story. That's why I decided to have this channel. That's why I want people to heal. I want you to understand that no situation is permanent, guys. No situation is permanent. You might be going through it today, but next year this time you'll be looking back and wondering, oh my goodness, how did I even survive that? And you will probably also be having a YouTube channel encouraging the next person to hold on. And even if it's not through a YouTube channel, it could be through your Facebook post, it could be your WhatsApp post, it could be your tweets. You just don't know who you will be inspiring with your story. So please hold on. I am begging you from the bottom of my heart, never for a second think death is a better solution than life. You don't know what's going to happen when you die. You don't know the pain that you're going to leave behind. I'm begging you from the bottom of my heart, hold on, and just know that I love you with everything in me. That is why I'm putting my story out there. You know how judgmental social media can be. So I took this courage to come to you and tell this story. And I know that there's probably someone who's going to watch this and judge it, whether they comment or they don't. But someone might be judgmental, but I don't care. As long as one of you listens to this video and say to themselves, I'm not going to commit suicide anymore. I am begging you. That's my only wish with this channel. For you to just hold on to life. For you to just hold on to your dreams. I promise you, one day they will come true. I'm not yet where I want to be at this particular point in time, but I do believe that I will get there. I do believe that everything that I want, everything that I believe I'm here for, I'm not gonna die until I achieve every single thing that I came here to achieve. So another thing that I'd like to ask you guys, law student, please network. I don't want you to make this mistake that I made. I was always the shy one. Even people who went to varsity with me, if they watch this, they'll probably be so surprised that I'm brave enough to be talking like this. They don't know this person. I've had to rehearse a lot to bring out this fire that's inside me. So guys, please don't be like me. That shyness is not going to pay your bills. That shyness is not going to give you articles. That shyness is not going to give you anything, guys. network, ask questions when there are career exhibitions on campus. Go to whatever law firm that you want to work at, talk to them, ask for their requirements. If there's mooting at your campus, try and apply for moot court. If you guys have street court, try and do it. Please, dear law student, network. I am begging you from the bottom of my heart, put yourself out there, sell yourself. I failed to do that, and somehow I believe that I am to blame for the struggles that I went through because I was so shy to network. So please guys, from the bottom of my heart, that's the mistake that I made. That's the mistake that made me struggle that much. So I am begging you, I don't want you to make the mistakes that I made. Please network. Every opportunity that's presented to you at varsity, make use of it. Never leave anything for later, because later might be never. You will I will tell myself that no, there will come another time, there will be another career exhibition, I'll go to them, I will do it some other time, and then some other time I'll say no, next time, then next time I'd say next time, until next time meant graduating and having to look for work after graduation. If possible, please try and apply for articles when you're doing your second year or your third year. But before you complete your studies, make sure that you secure your articles, so that by the time you leave varsity, you will know that you have something waiting for you. And if you don't want to be an attorney, you want to be an advocate, ask about pupillage, ask information, go to the bar, because there are bars in various provinces. Go to them. If in whatever province that you are, ask where the bar council is, and then go and ask questions. Make sure that you speak. If you're still in second year, third year, make sure that you speak to final years who might have information. Speak to your lecturers. Put yourself out there. I am begging you from the bottom of my heart. Don't be like me. And whatever that happens in this life, just know that your sibling Tsholofelo Mokopanele loves you to the moon and back.